What is MCCA?
We are probably a third of the city of Mill Creek. So we have 27 single-family home divisions. We have 21 sub-associations, that's townhomes and condos, and then 5 apartment buildings.
Hilary is the Association Director for the Mill Creek Community Association, a 3,500-plus door community association in Mill Creek, Washington. With a background in education and writing, Hilary is constantly looking for ways to improve communication with residents to increase their awareness of the services and opportunities provided by their association and enhance participation across the community. As chair of the Legislative Action Committee, Hilary is passionate about making all community associations the best places to live in Washington state.
We have a lot of infrastructure that we deal with as an HOA, which smaller HOAs may not have as much. And the majority of our infrastructure is our trail system, our stormwater system, because we maintain an awful lot of stormwater facilities throughout the association.
Right.
And then that 160 acres of common area. We have a maintenance staff of 1 manager and 7 employees. And it's every day now we're doing road runs, what we call them, where we're just picking up trash off the side of the road. So you're not going to see a lot of trash on our roadsides. We have 21 parks that we maintain. And in those park areas, we have about a dozen major playgrounds. So Craig, our maintenance manager, is a certified playground inspector. So he makes sure that those are safe. We have our inspection and engineering committee that goes around and makes sure they're safe, as well as our maintenance crew. So we got a lot of eyes on that kind of thing. The 16 miles of trails that we have. So we have miles in the nature preserve, and then we have the smaller concrete trails that connect various neighborhoods throughout the association. And because we're heavily treed, those require a lot of maintenance, because you can either have pretty trees or flat trails. If you go outside of our association, I'm pretty confident that you'll see a difference.
Well, hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the show. It's another edition of our Mill Creek Life Today podcast. I'm Greg Elwin, your Mill Creek guy, and we're once again here at Tapped, enjoying some awesome food and some cold beverages and just a great environment. I got to tell you, I had fish and chips today, panko-crusted fish and chips with a sriracha ketchup. 100%, I'm all in on that. So, today's guest today, this is a really cool guest because Hilary Bublitz from the Mill Creek Community Association. She's the director?
Association director.
Association director for the MCCA. Now, a lot of us live in the MCCA, but not everybody does, right? And I think it's one of the things that we want to talk a little bit about today.
Sure.
So I think that's a good place for us to start is, really, what is MCCA?
We are probably a third of the city of Mill Creek. So we have 27 single-family home divisions. We have 21 sub-associations, that's townhomes and condos, and then 5 apartment buildings.
5 apartment buildings, 27 established neighborhoods, and 21 what?
21 sub-associations.
Okay, so for example, I live in Pine Maple.
Single-family home division.
Right.
Yeah.
But which one of those neighborhoods has a sub-association?
So those would be our townhomes and our condominiums.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Each of those, like Belvedere Place, like Fairwood Greens, they each have their own boards as well.
Okay, cool. So what's the origin of the MCCA?
So the United Development Corporation, way back in the day, did this master plan community. And fun fact, some of our original drawings have Klahani on them as the name.
Oh, wow.
And we became then, somehow we became Mill Creek Community Association. And so that was in the 70s that that Japanese company started building us out. And I think the idea was sort of a destination or living place for all the Boeing executives and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But one of the early master plan communities.
But it was all planned around the golf course.
Golf course, tennis club, and swim club were all at one time one entity, and then they all have broken up into their separate entities now.
Really? So I didn't know the tennis club is separate from the country club.
It is.
Interesting.
It is.
See,
yes.
I'm learning something new today too.
There you go.
Wow, cool. Now, I understand from a little bit of history living in Vine Maple that the neighborhoods were kind of built up in the MCCA over many years.
Correct.
Right. So there's like, this was the first one.
Sort of
and then
started
there
with
more.
Spring Tree.
Okay.
And then worked their way around Village Green Drive to Mill Creek Boulevard and then down a little bit of Seattle Hill Road.
Okay. Cool. Do you know, and I'm putting you on the spot, do you know when the first housing development started, when Spring Tree started?
I believe it was 1976.
Okay. All right. My house was built in 1981.
Correct.
And then do you know when again, putting you on the spot, when was the last neighborhood built?
Ooh, that is a good one. I was probably in the 90s or 2000s. I'm not too
Okay.
sure, but it was like Aspen, Magnolia. Those are our latest builds.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and we actually had 3 divisions that came into MCCA after the fact. So they weren't part of the original planned residential district. And those would be Sweetwater Ranch and Winslow and the Sunrise communities.
Interesting. So what was the process? And any idea why that happened? Why did they want in?
It's probably because it's difficult to get volunteer board members.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they were joining a larger HOA, they wouldn't have to have a board anymore, and they just become part of us, and then our board would govern over them. So I think that's a big part of the reason.
Right. But then also, you guys provide stuff.
Stuff. Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that stuff because I really want to get into the stuff that you provide.
Yes.
But in my business, real estate,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always talking to my clients about HOAs.
Right.
And, what are the dues and what does it cover and all these kinds of things. And, 9 times out of 10, we look at HOA dues and it's this much per month and it covers your common area maintenance and your snow removal and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we see most of the time.
Right. In a townhouse or condominium unit, yes.
Even in some of these neighborhoods,
Yeah.
right? There's just, my clients right now are buying a house in a neighborhood and they want to know what does their $59 a month cover? Well, it keeps your sign clean.
Right.
That's about it.
Right.
So when we talk about HOAs, MCCA isn't an HOA in what we understand to be a traditional HOA.
Right.
It's a corporation.
We're what we're called is a large scale HOA in the business. So we have a lot of infrastructure that we deal with as an HOA, which smaller HOAs may not have as much. And the majority of our infrastructure is our trail system, our stormwater system, because we maintain an awful lot of stormwater facilities throughout the association.
Right.
And then that 160 acres of common area. So that is a large part of what our association dues go towards.
So when I look at association dues, and I know my dues just went up.
They did.
I know. It's
Nothing
okay.
gets cheaper.
Nothing gets cheaper. But when I look at, again, in my business, what I pay for association dues on an annual basis compared to what other HOAs are paying, I ask myself, how do you guys do that? Because you provide a lot of service. And I mentioned it's a corporation, and it's not technically a corporation, but it's essentially a corporation with a board of directors and an association director, and then divisions within and all these different things. This is a big business.
Right. We actually are a corporation. We're governed by the Corporations Act. So we are. And $712 a year is what we'll be paying this year for single family homes.
$712. Remember
Yes.
that number when we talk about stuff.
1 year though. So,
Right.
It's kind of a deal. And I will tell you some of the things that we do that is included in that. If you go outside of our association, I'm pretty confident that you'll see a difference because we have a maintenance staff of 1 manager and 7 employees. And it's every day now we're doing road runs, what we call them, where we're just picking up trash off the side of the road. So you're not going to see a lot of trash on our roadsides. We do vagrant sweeps twice a month in our common areas. And if we find stuff, we take it out and we clear it. So nothing gets sort of built in. We do our mowing all the time. We're just getting started on our mowing schedules. So we mow Mondays and Tuesdays every week. We have 21 parks that we maintain.
21.
It's a lot of parks.
I want to loop back to that because I want to talk a little bit about that.
21 park areas. And in those park areas, we have about a dozen major playgrounds. So Craig, our maintenance manager, is a certified playground inspector. So he makes sure that those are safe. We have our inspection and engineering committee that goes around and makes sure they're safe, as well as our maintenance crew. So we got a lot of eyes on that kind of thing. We have the 16 miles of trails that we have.
How many?
16 plus miles of trails.
16 miles.
So we have miles in the nature preserve, and then we have the smaller concrete trails that connect various neighborhoods throughout the association.
Right.
And because we're heavily treed, those require a lot of maintenance, because you can either have pretty trees or flat trails.
Right,
but you can't have both in the same place.
Have both. Nope.
So that is a gift that kind of keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And we do love our trees, so we happily do that. We have 10 bridges within our association that we have to maintain.
Are those all pedestrian bridges?
They are all pedestrian bridges.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some of them are designed for a certain weight load because of maintenance requirements, right?
Golf carts.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do have that.
Okay.
And so those are important to maintain. And just like the nature preserve, the fish ladder, the dam that we have, all that needs maintenance, needs insurance, and it adds to the quality of life for our residents in Mill Creek.
100%. And I enjoy that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I probably walked on all 16 plus miles of
I
those
bet you
trails.
have. Yes, I've seen you out there.
Yes, and I absolutely love it. So there's the maintenance and there's the open space, but then you have a security element as well.
We do. And I actually, so we have one security person on staff 20 hours a day.
Okay.
So we have 2 10-hour shifts that we rotate through.
Don't tell anybody the 4 hours that they're not.
Yeah, that they're not.
Yeah.
I won't. But they drive around. They're constantly checking so that they're, we have about 160 acres that's ours, and they're constantly driving around those 160 acres. So to date, as of the end of last week, we have put 39,892 miles on our vehicles.
Wow.
Just driving in that tight little circle.
Wow.
So
far to date this year.
So far to date this year, this fiscal year,
Unbelievable.
yeah. So that's amazing. And then they also do vacation checks. We have a lot of people that are snowbirds and that like to go on vacations. And so we've done almost 100 homes that we were checking in April. Just in April.
Just in April.
100 homes. And so we will walk around if they request it. We'll check their, front porch for packages, and we collect a lot of packages.
Right. So you collect the packages, take them back to the office, and then when folks come home, they can just come get them.
They come get them, or we bring them to them. So to date, this fiscal year, so our fiscal year ends July 1 or June 30, we have picked up 626 packages.
Wow.
So that's a lot.
Wow.
And so basically what we're trying to, porch piracy is rampant, and we're trying to make it so that our association is not an easy target,
Right.
and they go somewhere else.
Well, again, where I live, and I live on a loop,
Mm-hmm.
and at least once a day, and more often than not twice a day,
Right.
I will see a security car drive by my house.
Yes.
So in my old business, we used to call that a patrol interval, right? What's a patrol interval? Was how often do you see a patrol car drive by a certain fixed point? So the patrol interval at my house is incredible.
We try very hard for each shift to get everywhere twice.
Yeah.
That gets challenging if we have a lot of vacation checks we have to do, or if there's an incident that comes up because we only have one person, but we do a pretty good job. Yeah.
So just so everyone understands, your security detail is essentially observe and report detail.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
We don't have armed security officers driving around.
Correct. And if you hear your neighbor's alarm going off in the middle of the night and you want somebody to check, call 911.
Call 911.
Call 911 all day long, every day. Yes.
Right. Security is a presence to deter and to keep an eye on and observe everything that's going on, and then support the folks who want the vacation checks but be the eyes and ears out there.
Correct. And it really helps with the mischief issues.
You bet.
You see people loitering. We can have security just go around and make contact, say, hi, can I help you? Is there something you're looking for?
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of that. And we have a great relationship with the Mill Creek Police Department. And when we call, they answer. So we are very grateful for their support.
So in your office, you also have staff too.
Correct.
Right. So there's you.
Yep. There's me. There's our administrative assistant, Erin, and we have Joan, who does our compliance and our bookkeeping. So there's 3 of us.
So I'm just going to recap really quick. a director, an administrative assistant, a compliance person, a security force of how many people?
We have 1 full-time, and then we have about 5 part-time.
A maintenance supervisor and 6 maintenance crew?
Maintenance manager and 7 maintenance crew, plus we have 3 summer help right now, which are all college students who live in MCCA.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And 16 miles of trails and 160
Acres of
common area for $712 a year.
Best deal ever.
Liz, I'm horrible at math, but I know that if I take 712 and divide it by 12, it's not a very big number.
No.
How do you guys do it?
Economies of scale. We have a great team. Our maintenance manager, Craig, is super talented at making everything a schedule. And when you have everything on a schedule, you can do a lot in very efficiently.
Yeah.
So.
Craig's awesome. Of course, I've gotten to know Craig over the years.
He is awesome.
And you scored when you got him.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Best hire ever.
Oh, just incredible. And the whole team. The front-facing team is your maintenance crew and your security crew.
Yep.
And I can guarantee and count on a wave
all
from
the
your
time.
security every single time. Not always from maintenance because they're busy, but they're all very friendly.
Yes.
And so you've assembled a really cool team of people.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I've lived in Vine Maple, and we're neighbors because you're a Vine
Team
Mapler
Vine
as
Maple.
well. Yep. Let's go. The kids across the street used to do some sort of a thing with a V and an M, and I'm not sure how it goes, but something like that. But I'm going to talk about that really quick. The kids across the street are all grown.
Right.
And I moved in here into Vine Maple in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, our youngest was 10 years old.
Okay.
And she was the youngest kid in the neighborhood, right? There weren't any other kids.
Oh,
They were
and your
all
neighborhood
18s
is
or 20s.
busy now.
My goodness, our loop.
Yes.
Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yes.
6, 8, I don't know. There's gonna be 10 homes on that loop
Yes.
that have little kids that ride their trikes and their bikes,
Mm-hmm.
and they go as fast as they can on their scooters. And it is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It is so awesome to have that kind of energy.
Yeah.
And so in the real estate world, that happens in neighborhoods, right?
It does.
People age out, their kids grow, they
Yep.
downsize, they move on, and new families come in.
Yep.
And in the 8 years I've been there, to see that just rejuvenate the life of the neighborhood. I mean, we kid all the time. What are those kids doing outside playing and laughing? Because that's what kids are supposed to do.
That is what
and
they're
for many
supposed to
years,
do.
they were all teenagers that were surly and grumpy and didn't
Yeah.
want to hang out with anybody. And so it's
very
really
true.
cool. Are you seeing that same kind of thing in other neighborhoods?
Oh yes, definitely. We have seen our escrow requests pick up. So houses are selling more now. We went from I think 5 1 month to almost 10 in a month. So I mean things are picking up,
Cool.
and it's exciting to
Yeah.
see the new residents come in. And fun fact, we offer a welcome aboard little meeting for our new residents. We do it once a quarter, so that we bring them into the office, we introduce them to our staff,
Oh, cool.
and get them to understand what the HOA is about, what it includes, what it doesn't include, common rules that you need to
Yeah.
know about.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way to meet them and let them know about volunteer opportunities in our community.
That's really cool. When I moved in, I got a packet was
Yep.
delivered to me of
Yep.
some stuff, and which
Yep.
was cool because it was
Yep.
very educational and gave me some information I needed. But that personal touch, actually inviting folks to come in and
Yeah.
meet people face to face.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really
that's a brainchild of Erin, my administrative assistant, who is
brilliant.
brilliant. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's cool. So let's kind of come back to you, neighbor. You live in Vine Maple on the other side, closer to Cherry Park.
Yep.
Which is a completely different conversation we're going to have here in a minute because I've got some
Perfect.
really strong opinions about that.
Oh, wonderful.
How long have you lived in Vine Maple?
I have lived in Vine Maple for 11 years. So we came when our kids were in Mill Creek Elementary still, and now they're all graduated and moved on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you empty nesters now?
They're coming back.
Yeah, they
They're
always
coming
do.
back. We
Yeah.
just got used to it, and they're coming back.
They
We
always
love
do.
it that they're coming back.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's wonderful.
It's different when they come back.
Yes.
Right. It's
Yes.
a different. It's like, hey, it's time to go. See ya. It's good to have you. But when they come back, it's like, wow, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
We had a daughter
it's-
come back, and so it was cool. Our last one is in our house now. She's 18.
Perfect.
And Ashley just got her real estate license.
Oh,
She's
nice.
going to Cascadia College to get a degree in whatever she wants to today, because it'll change tomorrow.
Yes, it will.
But she also got a real estate license. She's working with us in our brokerage.
Perfect.
Which means I've got somebody to go
She's
do all my dirty
gainfully
work.
employed.
Well,
I
don't
love
know,
it.
'cause she's not making a whole bunch of money yet, but I still have somebody to go do my dirty work.
I like it.
So yeah, cool. 11 years. Where did you come from? Where'd you live before you lived
Oregon.
here? Oregon.
13 years, Tigard, Oregon.
Tigard, Oregon.
Loved it.
Okay. You know, this goes back way long ways ago. When I was 21 years old, I interviewed to be a police officer in Tigard, Oregon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Clearly, I
Interesting.
didn't get the job, so everything happens because it's
It's
supposed
good
to.
that you're here.
Exactly. So, 11 years in Mill Creek.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Oh, we love it.
Yeah.
We love it here. My husband and I are avid walkers, so I walk every day. We walk every day. After work, we hit the trails right away. Walking in the rain yesterday.
Yep.
We were geared up, but we love it. The walkability, you just can't find that anywhere else.
Right.
And that is one of the reasons why we chose to live here.
Yeah.
That and the flower baskets. I won't lie.
The flower baskets are epic.
Saw the flower baskets and I was like, this is the place.
So there's always a story with flower baskets every year, right?
Mhm.
Where you source those, and there's
yes.
always something.
Oh, well, it's been the same place for quite some time.
Okay,
Snohomish Garden Center.
Okay.
And they always make extra in case people want to buy them because they've had a lot of inquiries from us over the years.
When are you buying those?
They're up.
They're up.
They're up. They're not as noticeable right now. We put them up on Monday.
Oh, okay.
So
only
give them
Monday,
give them a few weeks of sunshine to really puff out and bloom. But yeah, they're up.
Okay. Well, I may need to go there and get one.
There you go.
Because I need one on the front corner.
They're
of my
amazing.
house.
They're amazing.
They're incredible. Just incredible. What else do you do in town?
So we have a number of special events
Okay.
that we plan for our residents.
Cool.
And I don't want to miss any, so I'm going to look at my little piece of paper here.
Perfect.
So we do Elf Awards, which everybody
Yes,
knows.
yeah.
That's
Tell us a little bit about, because not everybody knows. What are the Elf Awards?
So that's in December, and we have volunteers that judge the best light displays in all the neighborhoods. So every neighborhood gets one or two winners, depending on the size. So that's really fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's really fun. And we post the list. And for Cogier, which belongs to us, the retirement community that belongs to us, we do best door. So we walk the halls
Cool.
and figure out who's decorated their door the best.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Beautiful Yard Awards are coming up. And I know that you love that award. So we'll see. Your yard looks pretty good.
I've never gotten it.
I've been looking at it. It's pretty
I
good.
have some work
I
to
don't
do
give out
still.
the awards, so I don't know.
I've got some work to do.
Beautiful Yard Awards will be awarded the third week of June.
Cool.
So get ready. National Trails Day is coming up June 1. So we're going to have a photo scavenger hunt down in the nature preserve. That's on a Saturday.
Cool.
So we'll be at Chopper Park from 10 to 1 with the Noxious Weed Committee and our trail ambassadors. Earth Day events we have all the time. Jill Cheeseman on our Noxious Weed Committee always organizes something there. We have our Community Hours event in October where we just have like hors d'oeuvres and cash bar at the country club so that people
Cool.
can just meet and talk to everybody.
Yeah, right.
And then we've had some special speaker sessions for our community members where we've talked about lawn alternatives. We've talked about trees in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to plan one on paint colors for your exterior.
Oh, cool.
So we're working hard to try to, get things that interest people and get people involved.
Well, what's really cool about that is people get to learn stuff and they get to participate, and maybe they get an award or maybe they don't. But you're going above and beyond what a normal HOA
Yeah.
is. Now, I know there's lots of people out there named Karen, so I apologize but I mean, that's what you associate, right? It's like, oh, your bushes are too tall, or this isn't the right color, and people really associate that with not a traditional HOA, but at least their perception of what it should be.
They do. And I would say that Joan has a challenging job.
Yes, she does.
Of working with people to bring them into compliance. And it's just, it's an opportunity we get over and over again just to educate people
Right.
in what the standards are and how they can achieve them. How do we get you there?
Right.
So it's not just a matter of finding people. It really is a matter of engaging with people and helping them get the tools they need or the skills they need to get to, a point of compliance. And right now it's it's a busy time. We have about 100 opportunities that we're working on right now.
Right. Everything's an opportunity.
Everything's an opportunity.
Well, the cool thing about those opportunities will help the neighborhood.
Right.
But these other things that we've talked about really help kind of ease the pain a little bit, right? If Joan were to come to me and say, for example, you have an illegal driveway in your house, which I did, by the way, and say, you've got to make that go away. The pain of that regulation is eased by the fact that, well, it's a beautiful neighborhood and the baskets are cool.
Right.
And the maintenance crews are out there and the security drives by my house twice a day. Okay, fine, I'll get rid of my stupid driveway. And
what you have now is much better.
I inherited the driveway.
You did.
It was there when I got there.
You did.
But because you provide additional services, additional resources, and cool things that really people appreciate,
right.
It makes okay, fine.
Right, and we are really committed to working with our residents. I mean, that is the goal. We're all neighbors.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
Our board members, they're all neighbors.
Yep.
And that's kind of the stand that we take when we're working with people.
Yeah. So you mentioned the number of parks. Can you tell me that number again?
21 park
21
areas.
park areas. So that includes what we call pocket parks, like
Yep.
the one that's behind my house.
Yep.
Which is South Park.
Yes.
Not the cartoon show South
No.
Park, but the South Park. Because there's North Park
Yes.
over on your side of the
North
neighborhood.
Park, which is to the east, and South Park, which is to the west.
Right. Makes total sense to
I know.
me. But the crown jewel of the whole thing is Cherry Park.
Cherry Park is beautiful. Mm-hmm.
And I say it's the crown jewel only because it's a wholly and completely vine maple park. So if anybody who lives in Huckleberry thinks for one moment that is your park, you're welcome to visit our park.
I've actually had that comment on a survey.
Yeah, it was probably me.
I don't know. They're anonymous, maybe.
I'm sure it was me. So we joke about that, right? But my friends in Huckleberry, I battle with them all the time about them coming to my park.
Yes. I think
have
the
you
electrical
here.
meter is actually on the Huckleberry side. I don't know if that means anything.
So they pay for our electricity.
There
That's
you go.
cool.
Perfect. It's a great,
See, that's even better.
great relationship.
They can come visit and pay
Pay
for
for the
our power.
electricity. There
That's
you go.
cool. I mean, you're the defining authority. You are, and I might remind you, a vine maple resident.
I am a vine maple resident. I would say that it's a park for all. A park for all.
You want
All
to run
of
for office or
MCCA.
something? Go ahead.
I have to answer the phone at work.
That's true. All right, you're off the.
Thank you.
The other crown jewel of the parks is the nature preserve.
Yes.
And I walk up and down that nature preserve as much as I can. It's where in the mornings I get some of my just most peaceful, reflective time.
Oh, yeah.
And you can walk down that nature preserve, and once you kind of get down a little bit, you don't hear cars.
You are away.
You don't hear sirens. The only thing you hear are your own footsteps, or the people who say hello to you when they're passing the other direction, or dogs barking once in a while.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yep.
You and your crew have done a lot of work down there in the last couple of years, right?
A lot of work. I think one of the best pieces of equipment we ever bought was our turbine blower, because it allows us to blow the debris off the trails of that park within 45 minutes,
Wow.
rather than having people on backpacks with their hand blowers. So that has been a huge impact. We also have maintenance standards where we keep brush away from the trails. We've been doing a really good job down there, and replacing the asphalt trails. Because like I said, you can't have pretty trees and asphalt together.
Right.
So we have been replacing it, doing root abatement where necessary. Occasionally we do have to take out a tree because it's right on the path pretty much.
Right. But you have a new program with trees, right?
We do. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Yes, we just passed a new tree policy. I think it was in February. And part of that tree policy is that we will plant 100 trees per year in our common spaces.
Very cool.
If your listeners come to our annual meeting, we're going to have a tree count for them of how many trees we've removed and then how many trees we've planted.
Very
and
cool.
It's heavily leaning towards the planted trees.
Yeah.
When you're managing an urban forest, you do have to remove trees because there are targets everywhere, and that risk is just not acceptable in a suburban environment. But We do plant a lot.
Well, it's the thing, it's managing the forest, right?
Correct.
So that means you have to make those decisions.
Unfortunately.
Now, I know recently there's been a few areas where you've had to take a whole bunch of trees out because of
laminated root rot.
Exactly.
Yes, we had an area in Fairway and an area in Huckleberry. Those have since been replanted, and it's been so excited to see the leaves come out on the trees now this spring. This is our first spring with those trees. So,
cool.
And it's coming back. It takes time. This isn't HGTV. So,
right.
Things take years and months to fill in, but they do. They do.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any big projects on the horizon? Anything coming?
Perfect. Well, we have stuff that we've started. So if you drive around, you'll see that we're repairing the east entrance to Huckleberry, that entry there. We had some issues with tree roots and an underbuilt wall that was failing. So we're fixing that. We're working on our Critter Corridor project, and that is just to the west of where we're fixing that sign. And we're going to put in some nature snags for animals. We took out all the blackberries and all just the dead stuff in the brush. And then we're going to replant that with pollinator stuff and just a Gary oak tree. So there'll be lots of good stuff for our native critters. And then at Cherry Park, we're going to be getting back there again. We have another project in the retention pond there. Some pipes that go from the catch basin to the golf course are leaking. We have 40-year-old infrastructure everywhere.
Right.
So we're going to get that fixed, and that should be our last project in Cherry Park for some time. Once that's done, and then we repair the path.
And then the folks from Huckleberry are welcome to come back.
Then they're welcome to come back, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Awesome. I just totally lost my thought, so I'm going to go back to the stormwater issues, right? So you talked about you've got stormwater retention, stormwater mitigation issues that you take care of. And I know from experience that those critters that you talk about sometimes are beavers. You still having beaver problems?
Always having beavers. Wherever there's flowing water, there will be beavers.
Yeah.
And with beavers, you decide what you're going to give up and leave to the beavers, because you will never beat the beavers. The beavers will always win.
They were here before us.
If you get rid of the beavers, new ones will come. Right. So you just have to figure out how to live with them. So that's what we try to do. You'll see that we have notch exclusion fencing in some ponds, and other ponds we just say you're okay there, and so we just leave them there.
Do you feel like that's been effective lately?
Yeah.
It seems to me as a resident that it's been effective.
It has been effective. We've done a lot of work. I mean, we worked with Beavers Northwest, so we consulted with experts. We got our hydraulic permit for dealing with beaver dams and notching. We work closely with the city in them, because sometimes we have to do it in parallel because we're all working in the same, waterway. Right. So I think we've done a lot of work, and those beavers are busy. I wish I could hire them. They work a lot. They're industrious.
They are industrious. Yes. Now, are there, let's see, I'm trying to think as I walk through the nature preserve, down at the end, I guess, the west side, southwest side, as you come out to Mill Creek Road and
so by the fish ladder.
By the fish ladder.
Yep.
And that's where I was going. So there's a dam there.
Yes.
And then there's the fish ladder.
Yep.
And your crews maintain that?
We do. We maintain it. We just keep the spillway clear, and we check it every now and then. We get a lot of insurance on that. But that was one thing that we inherited, because the Garhart family actually installed that dam over 100 years ago now.
And so Garharts were the original property owners who sold or deeded property to create...
To UDC, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct, yeah. And so that was part of their... I think they had plans for a trout hatchery that never really worked, because there's too much brown in the water from the upstream where we have all the peat bogs. There's too much peat there, so that the trout all went brown. And then they also had a turbine in there to get power so that they could water their crops, which were on the other side of 527 now.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen some old something there, so that's what that is.
There's a book. There's a book.
I have a copy of the book.
There you go.
Yes, I have a copy of the book. Cool. Well, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Anything that I missed out that you want to tell us about your association?
We have a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Oh yes, I do want to talk about
We
that.
have a lot of volunteer opportunities. So our board they're all volunteers. So that's 7 volunteers who serve on our board. And then we have, we have the ACC committee, the Covenant committee, the Trail Ambassador committee, the Noxious Weed committee, and the Inspections and Engineering committee. And we cannot function without our volunteers.
Yeah.
So if anybody is out there living in MCCA who would like to volunteer, we always will have a place for you.
Yeah, we talked about all the paid employees that you have that are doing the work on a daily basis, but all of those committee members are actively engaged and involved in what's going on.
Actively
And
engaged.
your board has to your board manages the corporation.
They do.
Right.
They do. I get all my walking orders from the board,
Yeah.
and then I disperse them from there. So
It's like working for city government.
pretty much.
Mhm.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I know some of the history.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody knows all of the history, and so it's good to hear some of that stuff. I do need to ask you about garage sales.
Okay.
So I moved here in 2016.
Okay.
I'm told that before, maybe when you moved here, that the garage sales were such a big deal that it gridlocked the area.
They were, and I experienced that the first year that I moved here in 2013. We did see a huge decline in COVID, of course, because we couldn't even have a garage sale. I think there was part of that year. And ever since then, it's just been I guess we need to build it back up.
Yeah.
The Goodwill trailers do not come to the office anymore, and that's not because of our desire. That's because they don't have staff.
Right.
So they stopped providing that service. But and it seems that as the population changes over, you just get less people participating as well.
I think so. And part of that youth movement in our neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
they're less prone to garage sales.
Well, and they're still collecting.
Right.
They're still in the collecting phase of
Exactly.
their life, not
Yeah.
the getting rid of and selling phase.
And then there's the offer up and the Craigslist and things like that, which can tend to be more attractive to some people.
and easier, because a garage sale is a lot of work.
A garage sale is a lot of work.
It's not easy.
Every time we talk about having a garage sale, right up to the point where it's time to do it. And we're like, you
It's
know
like,
what?
I'm just too tired to do this.
I can't do that.
I'm just going to donate this
I-
stuff.
Well,
I know.
Our Kiwanis Club does the electronics recycling event
Yes.
the day after the garage sale.
That's great.
And you would not believe, I don't know where all this stuff comes from, because we've been doing this for several years, and we just keep getting
More
more and
comes,
more and more. It's amazing. We completely filled up a truck with
Wow.
electronics. It was something.
Wow.
But I want to talk back to garage sales. There's this belief that in Mill Creek, you can only have a garage sale at your house on one of those 2 days in either May or October.
First Saturday in May, first Saturday in October, yes. So you are able to have an estate sale at any time, one per the history of the owner.
Okay.
We do allow that. You do have to apply with the office, because we know people don't, move across country or have major life changes on our schedule.
Right.
We agree.
Right.
For garage sales, it might be possible for someone to have an inobtrusive garage sale. If you're thinking of having a garage sale every week, which some people have tried, that's not going to fly.
No, that's not going to fly.
Not going to fly.
No.
But our garage sale days are the only days where you can put up signs
Okay.
and go all crazy.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, our security people, they will pull your signs.
Okay. Good to know. Well, if I wasn't going to have a garage sale, because I wasn't, I'm definitely not going to, because I'd lose my
Perfect.
sign. That's an open house sign that I would just turn the other way.
There
So
you go.
I don't want to lose those.
No.
Cool, Hilary. This has been awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's cool to sit in a place like this
Yeah.
and talk about stuff.
No, this is a great place. Everybody should come to Taft.
Yeah, everybody should come to Taft. We'll cut that, right? Print that, and we'll give it to Kenny, the general manager here. So, Hilary, thank you
Awesome.
very
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it.
All right.
This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
All right. Cheers.